Good morning. Oh, this is the day that the Lord has made, and I shall rejoice and be glad in it, no matter what, no matter who, no matter what circumstance comes. God is greater than any circumstance that ever comes into our lives. So this morning, I'm going to talk about human trafficking so that if anything happens to me, these are the people who are involved. And I'm just going to put it out there just like I mean it, because that's what I put it out when I put all the information on Facebook and on G Plus and on YouTube for my previous accounts. Oh, I moved to Steubenville in July 4th, 2003. And I was living with my aunt for like 13 months. And after that, I lived at Cathedral, which had cameras everywhere, but I don't think they had them in the rooms in the what do you call those utility apartments of the people who stayed there. Then I moved to Fort Steuben Hotel, where I lived for about 8 years. And I left there because things had gotten absolutely horrible. You'd go out in the hall when you're trying to go grocery shopping or go out, and you have people started sleeping in the halls and blood on the walls, and the management, and yes, the management going into the apartment, stealing and selling the tenant stuff on eBay and Etsy that they stole. And that will be Andrea Clancy and Shirley Miller and her husband and her son. They were going in people's apartments, stealing and selling the stuff that they stole on eBay and on Etsy. So I moved out of there thinking I'm going to a better place, to Garden Apartments on Lover's Lane, only to find out that human trafficking was going on in those apartments all along Lover's Lane. And the one who was the site, what they call the site manager for those apartments, is an ex-fireman. And the reason I know about him is because when they started bothering me upstairs, and I would notice right before I take a shower or go or anything like that, he would come over to the building and be upstairs, and Tim and Lisa would leave. But I would hear noise in the bathroom over my head, till one day I was taking a bath, and it's like somebody was falling over in the bathtub, and I look up and there's a mini hole over the bathtub. So I covered it up. After I covered it up, I said, well, this can't be happening. This is not for real. But it was true that they were following me from room to room in this apartment. So I said, Lord, you got to show me this is not me, and I'm not going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, that something is going on. Well, the next few days, I walked from the bedroom to the living room, and Lisa, who was upstairs at the time, followed me step for step. And the chandelier light in my dining area blew out and sparked fire. And she screamed and dropped whatever she had and ran to the back bedroom upstairs. I knew for certain then what they were doing. These filthy pigs, and that's what they are, filthy pigs. They were bringing kids in, little girls as young as, I would say, 3 and 4 years old, putting them in the apartment above my head. These filthy dogs would come in, and because they know they were wrong in sleeping with these little children, having sex with these little children, they would watch me until they got their little tater tot to stand up. And then you would hear the pitter-patter of little feet running to the bedroom, and they would go walking in there after them. And this went on for the 3+ years I was there. I called the police. The police did nothing, because there were 4 detectives, 2 patrol cops who were involved in it. And it was ignored to the point chief of police did nothing. No one came out to interview me about the pin camera holes that I found in my living room, bedroom, dining room, and my bathroom. I had guests who would come, and I stopped my friends from coming to spend the weekend with me, because they noticed them following when they would go to the bathroom and they go to bed at night, and they noticed them following me. I had two friends that they tried to do something to. One, they tried to run off the road and then called the cops and said she was a drunk driver, knowing that their cops and their buddies who are involved in human trafficking will be the ones to answer the calls. So I'm getting all of this out because if anything happens to me, these people followed me here and then connected me with the people they have here in the Atlanta area. And I know it. I know that the neighbors here in these rental houses are involved in it. Some of them, I know they are, because they couldn't take the containers out of the garage in the distance to a long distance without them going to a house next door. Let me just put it like that. Now let's go back to Steubenville. I made so many police reports, none of the police reports were being filed. These dogs would follow me when I would leave home. It got to the point where one guy, he was like 6'6", who was a pervert, no good, nasty dog menacer. He was over my head one day with a kid. And I just finally told him, I said, you want to watch me? You come watch me in the hall so I can beat the hell out of you and knock you out. And they can come and get you and drag you out of the hall and take you to the hospital. He would not come from that apartment upstairs. Yeah, he wasn't white, but he was white. Dark hair, big fat gut, about 6'6". And he's the same one who would show up when I would go shopping, where they were following me. But I guarantee you after I video, and I do have a video of him leaving out of the apartment upstairs and getting in one of their transport cars and taking him back to wherever his car was. Now, let's go back. The reason I know about the old guy who was a retired fireman who was supposed to be the manager over all of the filth that's going on up there is because I was standing on the balcony, which faces the parking lot, and I saw him with this little girl, and she was covered from head to toe, and it wasn't winter, it wasn't cold. She was covered. She had a sweatsuit on. She was thin. She was very thin and very petite. And I was on the phone talking to my good friend, and I said, you know what, this pervert that be upstairs watching me got a kid with him, and I guarantee you this is not his child. And as we began to talk, a few minutes later, this SUV drove up with a man and a woman in it. And this SUV is very important because it's going to show up again. They took the girl, put her in the floor of the SUV, took her, all of her bedding and one dresser. Mind you, one dresser looked like a baby changing station dresser, threw it in the back of that SUV and drove off. And they drove off down towards the mall, which meant they probably took her to the apartments that were to the right of me, Wilson Properties. So let's keep going. After that, they really started coming into the apartment, unlocking my door at night and leaving it open, going through my mailbox, coming in, stealing my belongings. This is the same kind of stuff they did there. That's how I know these are the same people and they're the same ones. I was laying on, I had covered my ceiling with white plastic so that they couldn't see, those cameras couldn't see through. And then I covered my walls with my paintings and canvases so they couldn't use that as a medium anywhere with IR cameras. Then they got the thermal imaging cameras, and I saw Bill go up those stairs. I heard him drill into the duct system and insert those thermal imaging cameras in through the duct systems in the apartment, which meant I couldn't get to them. But my meter would read off and sound off every time I would take it and I would run it across that beam. All right. So the meter is how I found out where the cameras were located, and then I would cover them up or paint them or whatever. They would come in my apartment and rip the bottoms out of my chairs because I like to lay on the floor and watch them. So they would rip the bottoms out of my chairs, and the black lining under the chairs would be hanging down. They would took makeup. Now this is a tramp for you, because a tramp ain't gonna buy what she needs. Stole my makeup, stole my jewelry, and I mean good jewelry. Stole my Gucci shades, 2 pair of them. Stole home decor. Stole my dining room items that I would do my table with, and then I replaced them. And when I got here, they stole them as well. They've been coming in and out of this house every time my pastor and I would leave and stealing here, the same way they did it there. Another thing that let me know these were the same people, when I was laying on the floor one night watching television, I smelled something, and it smelled like a chemical. It smelled like that crystal clear adhesive spray that you buy, Rust-Oleum, that was being pumped into my apartment over my head. So I opened all the windows. What's the use of calling the cops? They're involved. What's the use of calling the sheriff department? Some of them are involved. Let's just tell the truth. And I'm going to tell the truth no matter what. So when I went on vacation last August, I went to New Jersey, and these dogs, one of them literally followed me to the Ohio line. So this is what they did. The old pervert, and I have pictures and videos of him walking around that complex with white short sleeve t-shirt and beige khaki pants on, with his ugly self, looked like a cartoon turtle. He went in my apartment, went through my things, stole pillowcases. So he stole a piece of bedding for a couple of my sets of bedding. He stole a custom-made, tailored, light blue, what is it called? Paisley tailored bed sham. He stole a brown floral pillowcase, stole a sheet. This is what these dogs do to let you know that they've been in there. They take stuff that you work with. These are thieves. These are worthless, evil, manipulative thieves. So anyway, he left his drawers, his shorts, and that t-shirt in my bathroom. And I had them, and I've been carrying them because when I called the police to make a report, they told me, oh, just throw them in the garbage. We don't need them. I didn't throw them in the garbage. Now, mind you, these dogs have cameras everywhere, so they know what you do. So I packed them up, and they couldn't find them there because sometimes I had given them to someone else to hold for me. And when I got ready to leave town, I got them. And I put them in my stuff and brought them with me. Well, when these dogs came in this house here, they went through everything in the garage, took half of the stuff out of the garage, and took the shorts and t-shirt and drawers. I know they were his dogs, and he knows they were theirs. And the only ones who could have done it had to be close enough to here to take these containers and come in and out of here at night while we're sleeping into the garage and go through things and steal things. That means one of them on either side, and I believe both of them are involved. I'm just going to tell you the truth. So anyway, there were a couple of other times in Steubenville. One night, everybody who's on drugs may not have gotten on drugs on their own. And I used to think that people did it themselves. But after living in Steubenville and knowing how these people operate, this is what they do. And this is what they tried to do to me. I would be sleeping in my bedroom on my bed at night. And the first time it was meth. And I know the smell of meth because it has a horrible stinking smell. They fed that through the ducts in my bedroom. That didn't work. I got up and opened the windows. Well, I called the cops. They're involved. A couple of weeks later, they fed crack through the duct systems. Good thing I had opened the sliding door and had the living room windows open just enough, and I had them blocked so nobody could come into them. Or else it may have been my demise. These people are evil. So I'm telling you out there now, everybody that says they don't know how they got hooked on drugs, it may be true. Somebody may have done it to them while they were sleeping and continuously fed it to them until they were hooked. Because I know what these dogs do. These pervert dogs. There is so much I can tell you about these dogs. It is not funny. The little pervert Tim would follow me and try to harass me into a confrontation with him in the back of the mall. But he would have his buddies in the red pickup truck over in the red pickup truck. So if I fought him, they would jump in. I'm not a stupid woman. I see more than you think I see. That's why I got the goods on you. Now I'm warning you to leave me alone and to stay out of this house. You're a liar, you're a thief, you're a murderer. I know that mid-April of last year, somebody in that lower level apartment was shot, and they tried to clean it up, and when they couldn't clean it up well enough, that apartment was totally redone. Now, I talked to the investigators here, and I was told I have a right to protect myself, my home, my property, and the people in this house. I will kill to protect myself and those that I care about. And you better read this very well. This is your last warning to leave me alone, and you won't get another one. Human trafficking, they are connected from Kentucky, Chicago, Ohio, the Ohio Valley, Weirton, West Virginia, Virginia, and Georgia. Now, I know that the guy Tim upstairs will take trips to Georgia with the pervert from the far building. And Georgia tags, I have some pictures of them that will come to that complex. And these are the people that they would be around, the human traffickers. Virginia tags, where they switch girls off to Virginia last summer. And they're the ones with the cops, some of the dirty cops. Let me put it like that, the dirty cops, because all cops are not involved. The dirty cops who are letting these Chicago boys run and do what they want to do in Steubenville because they got their backs. Now, when will you people in Steubenville stand up and stop talking about it behind closed walls and do something about it? Get rid of the sheriff. He's been there long enough. Get rid of the chief of police. He has been there way too long. Clean out that detectives department because they have been let to run rampant. When I went to report some of the things that were happening up there in that police department, the one who everyone in town just knew he was just the nicest one, the one that wasn't corrupted, the one who didn't have anything to do with this joker sat and talked to me and the person who was with me, and every instance of circumstance, he said, well, what if this happened? Was conversations I had with my baby sister about something that happened to her. And he made the reference, well, even if you're a hooker, if you make a police report and say someone attacked you, it doesn't mean they didn't attack you. That was something my sister had just told me, that someone had tried to attack her. So, and it was a couple of more things that was said to me that day that let me know he was a part of it as well. He's part of the problem. So when I got down here a few weeks ago, this jerk approaches me at Food Depot. But the thing is, he was standing down the aisle and I watched him. I'm good at watching these dogs. There's something about them that your radar goes off that says creep, pervert, lizard, everything else. And he gave me his name as Singleton. I think it's Jason Singleton and a phone number. And every time I get ticked off, I text that phone number with just what I'm thinking about him and his pervert dogs. And I'm looking at him as I walk down the aisle. And he's not looking at groceries. He's standing in the middle of the aisle looking down at his phone. And the closer I got, then he put his phone up. I turned to my right and went up the next aisle. And he comes over there. Hi, can I talk to you for a minute? And I looked at him like, who are you and what the hell you want with me? And I'm just going to tell you just like that. That was what I felt, besides a little stench. And he said, I just want to talk to you. I was wondering, could I have your phone number? And I looked at him. There's a little runt of a white male with what looked like strawberry blonde hair. Go ask me for my phone number. What do I look like? So I'm looking at him. I said, you give me yours. And if I were a man, and I had the sneer on my face and the tone of my voice that I had with him, I would have said, I don't want your phone number. You keep it. But I said, no, you give me yours. And he gave it to me too. And I already put it online because it's on one of the postings I did. I think it's on YouTube or on Facebook. So I'm going to get this out until I get it all out, because these people have been committing horrible things, atrocities against humanity, against children, against society for longer than I know. But I know of 4 years plus. And I say 4 years plus because in moving here, they had the audacity to come here. Them and they jackasses in this area and want to try to intimidate me here. But I'm telling you, in this neighborhood, you don't want to mess with me. I don't care about you, just like you don't care about me. And I will hurt you real bad. And they're going to ask why a 60-year-old disabled Black woman put you in the hospital.